It first started as a restaurant way back in 1918, actually, and it was called it was a restaurant called Cafe de Nat, and it was Samuel Wynn of Wynn's Wines, and he ran it as Cafe de Nat till about 1928, when Ronaldo Massoni purchased the leasehold from him. In the 50s, Leon Massoni and George Sindos did the grill downstairs, and that was done by an architect called Robin Boyd, who was very famous at the time, and did a lot of work around Melbourne, and also internationally, I believe. Napier Waller did the murals with some of his students, and they have quite a bit of a history in themselves, the actual murals that hang on these walls, which are part of the fabric of the building now. Running a place like this is like running a really big household times 100. You've got everything happening. You've got linen, you've got glassware, you've got furniture, you've got windows and carpets and everything. It just keeps on going. So it's a constant maintenance, and it's also about keeping the essential parts of the restaurant and the spirit alive. I'm very proud of my Italian culture, my Italian background rather, and my Italian culture, but I'm also equally, if not more, proud of my Australian background and my Australian culture, because my father chose to come here. He settled here. We thank him as a family for that every day, because we wouldn't dream of living anywhere else. I love going to Italy and getting that first-hand whoosh of culture and just that refreshing intensity of flavours and great vegetables and great oils and people just cooking beautiful, simple food and making something really special out of it. But I always love to come back home because Melbourne is home. And I guess in a way that is how I look at my cooking on a plate. If I was an Italian chef living in Chianti, would I use the local wine? The answer is simply yes. Would I use a local cheese? Yes. Would I use a local salami? Yes. So why should I change that ethos? My ethos is Italian, but I'm in Melbourne. So do I use the local vegetables grown half an hour out of Melbourne that somebody grows lovingly and caringly and brings to our back door? The guy who grows them brings them, and brings beautiful heirloom carrots that almost have been lost, but now he brings them to us. Well, I say yes, because that is a beautiful Australian product. It's a Victorian product, but if we were in Italy, I'd be doing the same thing. And kind of this is how I think for the plate. It's an Italian way of thinking. It's an Italian heritage that we put things together with. But at the same time, if there's a product out there that is local and that perhaps isn't necessarily a traditional Italian product, well, we would be very un-Italian not to look at it at least and try it and see if it works with our cooking. Funny thing happens when a migrant starts to adapt to a new land. The new land starts to adapt to them. It's something which you don't need to think about. It actually happens by osmosis, because the influences are constantly being seeded around the place. So as we're looking for Italian ingredients that aren't necessarily available, the Chinese are doing the same. And there tends to be crossover. There has to be cross-pollination. Is this a bad thing? I think not. It's not a bad thing, because again, we go back to the psyche of the Italian cook. It is to use the best of what's available to you and what's closest to you. So if the Chinese guy down the road is growing the best zucchini, that's who you're going to buy them from, and you're certainly going to get influenced by his family and by the things that he does perhaps. So things can cross over. Now our food is less structured. It's more natural, it's more real, it's more earthy. I think we're taking a pendulum swing back to that, away from some of those overcomplicated preparations that you have to sometimes question. Are you improving the product? So you might be adding a big bit of wow factor there, but is what you're actually eating any better for it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. In some cases, yes, but in many cases, probably not. So less structure, bit less formal, bit more friendly, bit more hospitality driven. Absolutely, absolutely. And if I would be mortified if I thought any of my guys were looking down and being condescending on any of our customers and being overly pompous in any of our restaurants, especially one where they're paying the most money for. Our customers need to feel like the kings. They're the ones coming to us. So we have to make them as comfortable as possible when they're here. If that means making them feel relaxed and letting them take their coats off so they can enjoy their food, well, that's what we do. And I think it's still fine dining. And some of our great restaurants that have opened up in recent times are fine dining restaurants, but they're simple and they're relaxed. That's great.